NASCAR on Fox presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Presented on Fox by Michelin. Dodge pace car set to roll off. And here's the starting lineup. Sadler for Robert Yates there with Ryan Newman, who has 11 front row starts and 49 Winston Cup tries. Jerry Nadeau and Jimmy Spencer. Big things expected from row 2 today. Jeff Gordon, one of Darlington's past masters, and Kurt Busch. They're in row 3. Ward Burton and last year's winner of this race, Sterling Marlin. In row 4, completing the top 10, Michael Waltrip and Todd Bodine.
Let's see if we can get old Sterling to talk to us. Hey, Sterling Marlin, this is DW up in the TV tower. Bud, how you read?
Loud and clear there, DW.
How's the old Silver Bullet looking today?
I believe she's pretty good. We same car we won with last year, and it really ran good in last practice. Really stayed good under a long run, so I think we're in good shape.
Well, it ought to be a lot easier this year. You don't have to come from the back. You're already up to the front, so I'm going to keep an eye on you, bud. I got my money on you today. Stand on that bad boy.
We'll do it.
10-4.
43 cars here, and nobody went home. As you have a look back through the rest of the field. And a lot of talent starting deep. Look at Winston Cup champ Stewart and Mark Martin back in row 14.
A lot of Winston Cup wins at Darlington back there. You look at Dale Jarrett and guys like that. Jeff Burton as well, starting way deep in the field.
But this joint's not about going fast for one lap. It's about going fast for 400 miles and staying off of that old wall. You don't want to be saying hello, wall.
Yesterday's Busch race rained out. They will run tomorrow at 11 a.m. and you'll see that on FX.
Larry and Mike, I wonder if there's any other wall in racing that's been hit as much as this one has.
I doubt it.
You want to hit it just the right amount at the right place. Right. Here we're going to look at the weather. Air temperature is 63 degrees. Now here's kind of a key based on practice yesterday. That track temperature is 75 degrees. In their practice yesterday, 25 degrees cooler. 50 degrees, track's going to be a lot greasier. Cars are going to slide around much more today. But the good thing is, it's not raining.
St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, instead of wearing to the green here, Darrell, we're going to be waving to the green.
Okay, old Waltrip, just reach up there as I tell you, pull those belts tight.
All right. Oh, boogity, oh, boogity, oh, boogity. Let's go racing, oh, boys.
Talking about it, the high line. Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He gets a jump on Elliott Sadler through 1 and 2 and pulls him down the backstretch.
Yeah, Ryan just had to right. He was up there on the outside. That's where you want to be going into turn 1, and it paid off. But here comes Elliott charging back on the inside. Got that Yates horsepower wound up, and he's going for the lead. Right there, folks, is where you've got to let up. The guy on the outside has got to let the guy on the inside go, or you'll wreck. You can't go through there too wide. Not the best thing you hope for when you go into turn 1 is that guy will push you up and you can put the crossover move on him.
I'm sure we'll see that a lot today.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Kenseth did not get off to a particularly good start, but it doesn't appear there's anything wrong with his car. Just being a little cautious and letting tires come up to temperature and pressure.
That's the whole thing here. It's always being cautious. Don't put yourself in a position where somebody can wreck you.
And you can go out there and you can run your car hard the first 8 or 10 laps, but you're going to pay the price 30 or 40 laps in the run. You're going to use the good up in those tires way too early.
Jerry Nadeau coming hard in that Black Army Pontiac at the bottom of your screen. Took second from Newman, and now he sets sail on the leader.
You don't see many people drive by Ryan Newman, no. I can tell you. Nadeau's pumped, and that Pontiac looks good this weekend. That's the best we've seen a Pontiac run so far this year.
Only one top 10 finish for a Pontiac in the first 4 races.
Jeff Gordon drops under Jimmy Spencer, who may have brushed the wall at turn 1.
And you see Sterling was right there, and because Jimmy got in trouble, Sterling had to lift, and it almost got Sterling in trouble. Coming off the 2 over there is a treacherous place.
Rusty Wallace underneath Ward Burton. This is for 8th place.
He's been getting about a car a lap. He is definitely on the move.
Things happen quick right now with all these cars bunched up. You got to be real cautious, but you want to pounce on a guy when you get an opportunity.
You're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. there in the 8 car. He started 16th. He's all the way up to 10th, so he's on the move as well.
Jimmy Johnson just moved past Todd Bodine to take over 11. And 48.
And I know none of us picked Jimmy Johnson in our picks, but I'm going to tell you, he was maybe one of the best cars in that final practice yesterday, the 48 car.
Yeah, I think the 48 and the 20.
Comes Jeff Gordon underneath the 12 of Ryan Newman, and trouble. Jerry Nadeau, the second place car spins.
And he'll probably, he gets it turned back around, because if he hadn't, he'd have went to the bottom of the racetrack. The caution is out.
Did he make contact?
I don't think so, Darrell.
Matt Kenseth spins coming off turn 2. I think he might have got tagged from behind trying to slow up.
That can happen so easily off that corner over there. You come through 1 and 2 wide open, and somebody lets up in front of you. You can't help but get in the back of them. I don't think they do hit anything.
He went in all by himself, Darrell, and I'm not sure if the car got upset on entry or if something happened in the middle of the corner.
I don't see any damage on the car whatsoever. I think he was very, very, very lucky.
Nadeau was French, not Irish. But this weekend, everybody's Irish. And you take all the Shamrocks you can get.
Well, he just made a big withdrawal from the luck bank. I can tell you that.
When you're running second, you spin in front of the whole field coming at you in the middle of the corner.
And a car that somebody doesn't run into you and you don't hit the wall, I guess I would call that
trips.
I guess I would call that good luck.
You said it.
We've only run about 6 laps. I'm going to anticipate most of the leaders will stay out, but probably Jerry Nadeau, Matt Kenseth will be to pit road for 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, the back part of the field will come down pit road. Here he goes. He just gets in there.
That's where Jamie McMurray clipped Matt Kenseth in the 17, Jamie McMurray in the 42. That was right over in the middle of turn 2 after Jerry Nadeau had spun.
You know, I think Larry, and I'm not sure we'll see it from further back. Jerry's already around, but you can see he was all by himself and did not make contact with the wall or another car. Let's see if Kenseth comes into play here.
They all have to go to the apron because they can't see for the smoke. That's what happens. Everybody goes down on the apron. They can't see for the smoke. You get down there, it's real dirty and sandy. That apron is really, really slick.
There's where Kenseth and McMurray got together right there.
Yep. You get down on that apron, and even when you're trying to come in pit, we'll probably see it before the day's over with down here in turns 3 and 4.
For the 7th time in his Winston Cup career, Jimmy Spencer is a leader at Darlington Raceway. Pace car pulling in. He'll bring Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jerry Nadeau, John Andretti, and Jeff Green to the green flag.
Mongo likes this view.
Yeah.
You see the pace car dropped him off there, 50 miles an hour is what they bring up to speed. We'll watch the Fox tracks here as he starts climbing for the restart. 1 through 3rd, then the high gear, start-finish line at 100 miles an hour. Got his hands full of Dale Earnhardt Jr., that 8 car behind him. 140 miles an hour entering turn 1 on the restart. Pick the throttle up real early in the middle of 1 and 2. They'll come off turn 2 over the backstretch at almost 160 miles an hour.
If we keep up with the speed of these cars over, the longer they run, the slower they get. They just keep getting slower and slower because they keep losing grip.
Single file at the front among the drivers who did not make pit stops, but look back here where everybody's trying to gain as much ground as they can, Darrell, in just these first few laps while the tires are fresh.
Well, when you got everybody bunched up like that, people are letting, you know, they can't, it's hard to race here. So if somebody gets up out of the groove, everybody goes by you.
Lead change. Dale Jr. brings the fans to their feet.
Has a little fresher tires than Jimmy Spencer, and I think Jimmy made a smart move there, you know, give and take.
Jeff Gordon on the move up after that pit stop, battling side by side with Sadler. That's for 17th position. Matt, why did Jimmy Spencer not pit?
Well, Mike, back in the modifieds, Tommy Ball was known as 2-tire Tommy. Today he said it would be 4-tire Tommy, but why no pit Tommy?
Well, there's only a couple laps really on the tires each chance, and you know, I figured the first 17 cars that pitted the first time wouldn't pit this time, so I mean, hopefully we get a caution lap 10-15 laps and it'll be worthwhile, but let's wait and see.
Hey, Mike, I bet you go back to him in a little while and say he won't do that anymore.
We'll see. Spencer now trying to hold back John Andretti.
Boy, I tell you what, they are racing hard.
Now, in just a moment, President Bush, along with the prime ministers of England and Spain, will be addressing the nation. And you'll be able to see the president's address over on Fox News Channel. Here on the Fox network, race coverage will continue.
Jimmy Spencer, he's losing the battle position lap right now. Mark Martin in the 6th car, who started back in 27th. This is a battle for 4th with Mark and Jimmy.
I know it shows a lot of confidence in your car and your driver when you'll stay out on a caution like that. But, Larry, you know just like I do, you've got to put 4 tires on, particularly early in the race like this where the track is so green and you need all the grip you can get.
The longer they go, the worse it's going to get.
Tony Stewart right behind Sterling Marlin. Jimmy Johnson, you're watching from Johnson's onboard, and they have sliced their way through traffic in a hurry.
And they're taking no prisoners, Mike. I was watching them, and when they catch them, they pass them. If you don't get out of their way, it might be woe unto you.
Brett Bodine, not in his own car, being passed. Sterling Marlin making the try on the bottom of the racetrack. The reason is Bodine's running only a partial schedule in his own number 11 to fill the field. And the car came.
Mike, see how that bottled everything up? He couldn't get off that corner. The guy on the inside couldn't make the pass because you got to be able to slide out, and it bottled up everybody behind him. That's what causes wrecks here.
But Daryl, Jimmy Johnson in 48, he was all the way down on the apron in turn 2, and that was kind of a gutsy move this early in the race. And there it is. He's in trouble.
Yep. He just got into Sterling, and Sterling got into the wall, I believe.
Sterling's left front fender is killed as well.
This track.
Oh, there, Sterling's in the wall. Turn 1.
Hard.
Bobby Labonte's in trouble. 18 cars.
18 cars wrecking.
How's your car, buddy?
29 cars spun.
74's in it, and Sprague and Harvick are there.
Caution is out. I mean, I think that was a product from what happened all the way over here on the front stretch.
That started off at turn 2.
Yeah, started over there.
Got everybody wadded up there behind them, and they just know where to go.
Trying to pass the slower car of Brett Bodine.
Yep.
This track is only so wide. Patience is a virtue, but gosh, Darrell, it's so hard to be patient.
I don't think I've ever seen these guys racing as hard as they are right now early in a race like this here at this racetrack. Yeah, 48 car is going to have damage, and certainly had probably ruined Sterling's day right there because he got damage on both sides of his car.
This was coming in off the front stretch into turn 1.
Sterling can't turn the car. The left front fender's got the steering locked up.
Let's look up toward the top of the frame right over here.
Yeah,
now it's going to unfold right here.
Yeah, he just, the left front tire was rubbing on the fender and it wouldn't turn going in the corner.
And there Bobby Labonte, he may have got tagged from behind, and he gets hit by Kevin Harvick in the 29 as well.
Well, he saw it like Darrell did. Now, on the restart, Dale Jarrett leads Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jerry Nadeau, who's led a charmed life so far, a little leprechaun in him today, and Jimmy Spencer. Here we go.
What I see here today is the young is kind of restless.
At an early stage.
Yeah, they need to calm down here a little bit. I mean, I can't tell you, I've never seen a race start like this here.
Here comes Nadeau with a run right up to the bumper at Junior. They're going to go inside Gordon for 2nd place. Let's go to the pits and Matt.
And the young one, Jimmy Johnson, had to make 2 stops on pit road, one to service the car, then he came back in just to work on the cosmetic damage to the right front corner of that race car. Corey Quick put a big, huge piece of tape just to try to help the aerodynamics a little bit and help the cosmetic damage.
Jeff Burton just took 9th place from Ricky Craven, right up there against the bumper of his teammate Mark Martin.
You know, we had him on our Busch show yesterday, started back in 37th. He said he had a good race car, and he's pretty much backing it up.
He's proven it. Junior inside of Gordon, that's 2nd place changing.
There's one thing about a good race car here, it will find its way to the front, if it's any good at all.
Craven
Holy cow.
had a run, had to go way low to keep from getting into the back of Burton. There's Busch to the outside.
He had to hurry up and get back up on the racetrack before they got to turn 1. That did not work.
This is such a momentum racetrack. I mean, you've got to carry speed all the time or you'll get past.
Jimmy Spencer just went past Jeff Gordon, who's fading just a little bit here.
Well, we've already seen 2 cases of where staying out on old tires. And when I'm saying old tires, it's 4 or 5 lap tires is not working.
It might be all right later, but it's not good right now. The track's not got any rubber on it. It's not got any grip in it.
Those Roush cars right now, 8th, 9th, and 10th. The leader of that group is Mark Martin. Steve Burns in his pit.
Mark Martin started 27th, already inside the top 10. The ironic part of that is crew chief Ben Leslie saying this morning that they were much better on the long runs, and the 99 has a problem.
Coming out of turn 2, he got into the wall, but now a lot of smoke, and I think Tony Stewart might have got into him after he had trouble.
Yeah, they were racing over there. I know he got into the wall. I'm not sure if anything else happened. I think it's tire smoke.
I think the damage from the left rear, Darrell, is from Tony Stewart. But that car is in no hurry to get back to the garage.
And the caution is out now. Caution is out now. He could not get to pit road because he was trapped on the high side of the racetrack through 3 and 4.
Green, green, green.
Jr. the leader. Cars that made pit stops led by Jeff Gordon coming from the back of the pack once again.
Boy, it was almost a disaster again down this front straightaway here, Jeff. Oh, Tony Stewart's in the wall off it too.
Straightens it up.
I think that happened going down the front right here. Jeff Green put a big block on Tony. I don't know if they made contact or not, or if that was just getting up too high and getting in the loose stuff.
That's something you're going to probably hear us say about 24 times a day. Ooh, he's in the wall.
But you know, you go into the wall here, you're not running so fast, and you scrape it. You don't really slam into it unless somebody gets into you. You get up there against it and you just kind of rub into it.
And is that, Darrell, because they're running what at Daytona they call the Richard Petty groove, or you're so close to the wall to start with because that's where you run?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, now these cars are so fast here, Mike, you use up all the racetrack. You use all the track that there is available to you, and you get that close to the wall, you're going to rub into it pretty regularly.
And I'm going to tell you, he hit that thing pretty hard, Darrell. That could have been ball joints, kicked the rear end over, been trailing arms. That was actually the second hit. He had hit it once before back in turn 1.
But, Larry, he's not lost position. He's still running right there in front of Casey Mears. Now, Darrell, how big a gamble is that, you know, to stay out and try to diagnose that race car after you bounced it off the wall?
See no smoke. He's got the steering wheel in his hand. He can tell if he's got a tire rub or not. So the tires aren't smoking, and you can just about run without a front end here because aerodynamics is not real important here. So it's more in his hands. They're going to be telling him, you make the call.
Big movers. Dave Blaney has now joined the top 10. And Mark Martin now goes after Jerry Nadeau and moves his Ford into second place.
It's such a frustrating place to race. Tony has been working, trying to get around the 7 car here, and he can't make the pass, and look what it's done behind him. Cars bottled up everywhere. I know that's Mark Martin going there.
But I'm going to tell you guys, we talked about this kid just a few laps ago, Casey Mears, in this 41 car right here. He drove by Tony Stewart and Jimmy Spencer under green flag racing just a few laps ago.
Nice and smooth. Take care of your tires. Doing good, buddy. Nice and smooth. Hit all your marks. Race the racetrack. You're doing good, man. These guys are backing up to you.
Great advice from his spotter and from his crew chief, Jimmy Elledge. Race the racetrack. Be patient. Take care of your tires. Things you have to do, Darrell, at this racetrack every single corner, every single lap.
Well, he's in really good shape. He's gotten through the traffic. He's kind of in a zone all by himself, and that's what you want here is a zone. You want to be all by yourself, nobody in front of you, nobody behind you. That way, if anything happens, you got time to react to it.
Tony Stewart backing up there. You saw Dave Blaney go by, and outside pole sitter Ryan Newman is backing up. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, he's dropped all the way down to 28th. From the very start of this race, he's talked about how tight his race car is, describing it now as unbelievably tight. He says the front end is skating, and at one point he said the front end, the tires were chattering.
Yeah, Steve wants it, and he's in trouble right there with Ward Burton in the 22 car.
Turn one.
Coming to your outside.
Caution is out.
That group of cars right there has just kind of been all just Newman's been holding some of them up, and they've been all around him.
Now what's happening? They're trying to stay on the lead lap.
Come on, Ryan.
It's Buddy Baker spotting for him.
Larry Fort's going to get his lap back. Looks like along with Brett Bodine and Kevin Harvick trying to get their lap back. Ward's just having a tough time even getting up to speed, though, it looks like, to stay in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
He's going to make it around as Earnhardt brings the field slowly to the caution flag. Burton stays on the lead lap.
As long as we keep these cars, keep them bunched up the way that we have here with all these cautions, we're going to keep on having people banging into each other.
Like you talked about 100 miles in the books. There's really only 2 cars officially out of the race. Jeff Burton, of course, with the engine failure, and Todd Bodine in the 54 car.
New leader at 117 laps. Mark Martin out in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Mike, what I was saying earlier, you come up to the back of the field, I don't care how big a lead you got, you don't just blow by these people when you get on old tires. Dale Jr. runs up on a lap car, a car he's getting ready to lap, and Mark had to run off turn 2.
Now, one reason that Martin may have so easily taken the lead from Jr. was a conversation that Jr. had with his crew a few minutes ago.
How many laps left on this list? About 32. That's too many.
It's about 31 too many, right?
He can already tell that's way too many. I need tires now.
And there you see to the next pit stop on Junior, 15 laps, and that's not for fuel, that's for tires. But what happens here in these long green runs is if some of the leaders start coming to pit road, it don't matter what lap you're on, you can't be far behind them because you're going to give up so much time to them with them on fresh tires.
And folks, the way you can see that is that with the difficulty that they're having lapping other cars.
Yeah, it's just so hard. You know, the tires are worn out now, and you just don't have the maneuverability that you need to work your way around people. That's what happened to Junior.
Dave Blaney just got around Kurt Busch. That was for 6th place. Joe Nemechek has moved up now into the top 5.
Yeah, Nemechek just got by Blaney just a lap or 2 ago. But Blaney's having a great day, and so is Joe Nemechek.
But you know, we talked about comparing this place to Rockingham. Blaney had a great run at Rockingham a few weeks ago. This place is very similar. That's the same car that he ran at Rockingham.
Rockingham here and Bristol are very, very similar on tires and setup and everything else.
Tony Raines, who was involved in the lap 23 crash, has taken his car back to the garage. Joining Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, Jack Sprague, and Todd Bodine.
Talk about cars coming to pit road. Ryan Newman in the 12 car, he's on pit road. And this is probably a routine stop. He's doing that short pitting. He's going to get advantage of those fresh tires. Hope it cycles through. He don't want to get caught by a caution flag. He'll make up that much time on the leaders.
What happens here, though, is when cars start to make their pit stops, now you got cars out there that are 2 seconds faster than the cars they're running against. And the closing rate is so fast, sometimes you have an accident here because the guy with the new tires runs up on a slow car and they get together. What do you know, Matt?
Well, Darrell, that's the exact concern Tommy Baldwin Jr. has for his driver, Jimmy Spencer. In fact, he told spotter Eddie Thrapp, start telling me when guys start peeling off the pit, we don't want to get stuck out there and lose too much track position on these older tires.
Thanks, Matt. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack has been Michael Waltrip. He went past Dale Jarrett, past Ricky Craven, and you just saw him pass Jimmy Spencer. That moves Michael into the top 10.
Yeah, it's almost like he's been saving his tires, maybe a little bit more than some of the other guys have, because he just all of a sudden started going by these guys.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he's been in the top 15. He's on pit road along with Ward Burton, who just went a lap down.
And Michael did come here and test a couple of weeks ago and said he loved his car in race trim. That is a backup car, though. He wrecked his primary car yesterday in practice.
Now Mark Martin struggling to put Robbie Gordon down a lap.
See, he doesn't want to go a lap down, and he's not going to give in to Mark. And you can hold the leader up here so badly
Robbie's having a Dave Marcus kind of race. Stayed out on the caution to lead a lap, pick up 5 bonus points, and now he is fighting like crazy to stay on the lead lap.
As long as he wants to hold him up, I think he can, because it's just difficult. Mark will really have to be careful, because he's the leader of the race. You don't want to get wrecked by somebody that can't beat you.
See if it works this time.
And while these guys are fighting, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Gordon, who's in 3rd place, he's catching them. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Well, Larry Mack, expect Mark Martin to pit on about lap 134. Mark says he wants just a little more grip out of his race cars. They're going to take a little more air pressure, about a ½ pound out of both front tires. He said his car is neither loose nor tight. He just wants a little more grip.
Steve, he's getting to that point where he's happy with his car. You don't want to over-adjust like Darrell and I talked about a while ago. And people may say a ½ pound air, but with this radial tire, remember the radial tire is like a spring. So that's like taking about 10 or 15 pounds of spring rate out of those front springs, a ½ pound of air pressure.
Plus, you do it a little wee bit at a time. You want to slip up on it. You don't want to make any great big adjustments, because you don't want to get the car upset.
Johnny Benson pits. Mark Martin leads. And Jeff Gordon closes the gap on 2nd place Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Mark Martin racing with the 31 car. It cost him a second a lap until he got around it.
And Darrell, now we get to a point in the race on green flag pit stops, which appears, to me, it appears treacherous, because you have cars that were slow now on brand new tires, racing cars on the lead lap that were fast, and now are on worn tires and have backed up.
You catch a guy, you just catch people in places where they have nowhere to go, and neither do you, when you run over each other.
And Robbie Gordon, who just went that lap down in the 31, he comes to pit road along with Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car, and Bobby Labonte, of course, who's many laps down. And I tell you, this is one of the most treacherous pit roads to get onto under green. It sneaks up on you. You have to get on the apron, and that apron is very slick.
Yeah, a lot of sand, dirt, grit down there, and you get it on those hot tires. Jimmy Johnson his car is way off. He's been struggling the last several laps. I've watched him. He's lost lots of positions, and now he goes a lap down.
Matt?
Well, a scheduled stop for Jimmy Spencer, lap 128, just like Tommy Baldwin told Spencer a little while ago on the radio. They already made a chassis adjustment coming around to the left side. We have a lead change on 2nd place, change for 2nd place, 24 car. Service complete for Spencer.
Green flag pit stops. First time we've seen this today. First long green flag run of the afternoon.
Kurt Busch, he missed pit road. There, we just talked about it. The 97 car, he completely missed pit road. It sneaks up on him.
Got to go around again. You get down and you get that sand and grit on your tires, the car won't turn.
And he has it on there now by being down there, and he can't even hardly get back up to speed. This is going to cost him a lot of time. Now watch him right here to turn 3 and 4. There's the entrance to pit road right there. And it's, as you can see, it's right in the middle of turn 4. And there he comes.
Oh, yeah,
can't make it.
Way too fast.
He's completely missed it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to remind your driver, you're trying to do all you can. It's a green flag pit stop. You have to remind him on the front stretch. You have to remind him again on the back stretch about the entrance to pit road.
And now he comes in extra slow, holds up Casey Mears, and Rusty Wallace almost run right over him.
Yeah, he's not going to mess up this time. I done messed up once.
Joe Nemechek working on Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is now for 3rd place. Remember, Jeff Gordon's gone past for 2nd.
And don't forget that Joe Nemechek's crew chief almost won this race a couple of times with Mayfield here in the 12 car.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Kurt Busch has got a whole bunch of things that they want to try to do to this car on this pit stop. They're changing the wedge on it, changing tire pressure. They also had to pull the tear off the windshield. He was having a hard time seeing. They did not know how to put that rubber in the right front spring.
See the point leader, Matt Kenseth in. Casey Mears completing his stop, going out.
Mark Martin in the 6 car. Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Jimmy Johnson, who just went a lap down. He's on pit road along with Elliott Sadler, Dave Blaney. This is the deal. It's a domino effect. Once a few cars start to pit, you can't be far behind them. Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, he comes to pit road as well. Steve Burns.
Mark Martin will have to get in just ahead of the 23 of Kenny Wallace. Slides into his pits to the right of the pit, but he's safely inside. Todd Ziegler changing the front tires. Chris Ladick on the rear tires. The Jackman, Chris Webb, Rich Brzezinski, the Gas Man. No adjustments, just a little air pressure out of the front tires for Mark Martin.
Jeff Gordon's on pit road in the 24 car. Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's 5 finally on the pit road.
Jeff Gordon has now led 18 of his 21 Winston Cup starts. At Darlington, he's had 6 victories here.
Yeah, Nemechek's the leader right now. Boy, all these guys that have made pit stops, they're just going by him left and right, left and right. He couldn't get in the pit if he wanted to, Steve.
Well, DW, Dale Earnhardt Jr. says his car's gotten just a little bit loose. They're going to change 4 tires, half a pound of air in the right front. Not Yost.
Steve Letarte already makes a wedge adjustment on Jeff Gordon's car. He said back on lap 104, the car was starting to go loose. Lap 125, really loose. Service complete to Steve Burns.
Matt Dale Earnhardt Jr. discussed not making any changes at all, but again, a half a pound in the right front tire, that number 8 car.
Boy, our leader is just giving up. Joe Nemechek's leader is giving up so much right now.
He's finally come to pit road now, Darrell. I mean, yeah, he couldn't run any further.
But Peter Suspenzo almost won the race here a couple of times with Jeremy Mayfield when they were in the 12 car. That's Joe's crew chief, so he knows how to set a car up for this, Joe. And it doesn't surprise me to see that 25 car running up front like that.
Nemechek gets an extra 2 or 3 laps from that set of tires.
Yeah, his car didn't look bad. It wasn't like it was handling bad. It was just slow.
Like I say, he couldn't get out of the way fast enough.
I think he wanted to get in the pits for 2 laps. He couldn't get out.
Well, let's keep track. His last lap on the old tires was 33.58 seconds. We'll have a look at how he runs with new tires once he gets back up to speed. Elliott Sadler back up to 5th place. Matt?
Mike, as the pit stops continue to cycle out here, Elliott Sadler has climbed himself back into the top 5. He pitted back on lap 133. He's been loose and tight back and forth all day. He was a tick free on that last run. They made an air pressure adjustment and also a wedge adjustment on the pole sitter.
So the pole sitter is 5th. Our point leader, Matt Kenseth, is 4th. Jeff Gordon is 3rd. Mark Martin has now reassumed the lead. The Pfizer Viagra Ford at 136 laps.
So, Mike, you just mentioned him. I'm telling you, this guy right here with a roller coaster day, good pit stop like normal, and he's actually going to be running 3rd now that all the pit stops has cycled under green.
Yeah, he's our point leader, and, you know, if he keeps doing it, this is what you have to do to win championships. Have trouble, overcome them.
Mark Martin out in front at Darlington after 136 laps. Green flag pit stops have begun. Mike Skinner is done. Dale Jarrett's in. Jeff Green, Rusty Wallace, and Joe Nemechek are on pit road. Mark Martin leads by 3.8 seconds. Trouble, John Andretti. Hard crash on the front straightaway.
Caution is out.
Boy, this is going to hurt a bunch of guys. Well,
Yes,
let's
it
see. No,
will.
I don't know, Larry. Pit road is pretty clean.
Yeah, but you had a lot of cars on pit road that had just went a lap down, and they'll have fresh tires. Mark Martin's over in the middle of 3 and 4 right now. Looks like Ricky Rudd's trying to come to get that lap back.
Coming inside.
And will. So will Larry. Looks like Larry Foyt.
4.
And Martin eases to the caution flag.
I think that Jarrett lose a lap.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett, who had pitted along with Rusty Wallace, Jeff Green, Jimmy Spencer, John Andretti, who caused the caution. All those guys had been on the pit road.
John Andretti had pitted 6 laps ago, and before that car even slid to the wall, the left rear sheet metal was all torn off it. Let's have a look here, top of your screen. Oh.
Looked like Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car got into his left rear. And Jimmy was one of the cars on fresh tires, too. He had just been to pit road about 4 or 5 laps ago. Now, what that'll do for those guys like Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace, they will stay out. They will be at the tail end of the lead lap. They will be in front of Mark Martin and all these guys leading with hopes of caution coming out right after the restart.
This happens. I can't tell you how many times this same scenario has happened at this place. Because you got to come early sometime to get tires because your car is so bad and you have a problem on the racetrack and you end up in trouble.
Because right now we're only showing 11 cars on the lead lap. There should be about 6 or 7 at the tail end of the lead lap. So it'd be Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Green, and Jimmy Spencer.
John Andretti is okay. He's taking the helmet off. He's going to take a little time getting out of the car as pit road is open. Jeannie?
Well, Robert Booty Barker luring his driver in with 4 fresh tires. And you know that's important around here. He's making his way down pit road, but also saying, hey, please, if you can get to the windshield, can you tear that off? Because that's getting pretty nasty, as you can imagine, from all the debris on the track. Just tire pressure adjustments, the 4 tires and fuel. Dick?
Kenseth was preparing to come in at any rate within a lap or 2, but this is a break for him. They're going to make a couple of minor adjustments in the car. To Steve.
Mark Martin's going to get a chassis adjustment. Catch cam man Scott Kurtz taking 1.5 turns of fight out of the right rear to Matt.
Letard and Craven both making a wedge and track bar adjustment. 4 tire change for Gordon. He's going to beat the 6 off pit road. It's going to be a race with a 38. It's going to be close, Mike Joy.
Very close cutting off pit road. I think Gordon
got it, yeah.
Beat Kurt Busch, who's right back in the thick of things here. And John Andretti climbed from his car uninjured. He is okay after colliding with Jimmy Spencer and then the inside wall. Let's show you the race off pit road, and it was, as Matt pointed out, a close one.
Ricky Craven, those guys had a good stop, came off 4th.
How about some attaboys here? So we're under caution for the 6th time today in Darlington. Jeff Gordon, your leader, as we close in on 200 laps. Now, he is not at the front of the pack because of cars on the tail end of the lead lap. Dale Jarrett and Mike Skinner. Matt?
Well, Mike, one thing to keep in mind about Jeff Gordon, he's very focused inside that race car as to what the surroundings are. Earlier in the race, when the sun dipped behind the clouds, he told Cucci Brown and Loomis, keep in mind it's now overcast, and they're thinking about adjustments. And then he came out and said, you know what, the sun's come back out. Now keep one thing in mind, if you were loose before, you're really going to be loose now with this racetrack getting some more heat into it. And Gordon was much looser earlier. They made those adjustments. It's going to be interesting to see how they help that race car.
Good point, Matt. Now, one driver who was quick down pit road was Ricky Craven. Restarted 4th. That's where he runs. Let's go back to crew cam here on his catch can man on that stop, which moved Craven from 9th to 4th coming out of the pits.
Here you see him take the first can from the fuel man, holds it while the fuel man sticks a second can in.
And the tight Pontiac scoots out and gains a few spots on pit road, 5 to be exact.
I tell you, this is a good run for Ricky late in this race. Started back in 31st. I talked to his crew chief this morning, Scott Miller. They had every spring in that race car laying on the ground. They had stuff everywhere making multiple changes on that car this morning.
The guy that's fought his way back from making adjustments and hitting the wall and everything else is that 20 car, Larry. I watched him. He's really got it dialed in now, and he seems to be really coming to the front.
He's up to 7th.
Got a good-looking car right now.
Watched him, Darrell. He made 2 40-lap runs in practice yesterday, trying different things.
Darrell and Larry, guy we hadn't said a whole lot about today, is running pretty strong and knows his way around Darlington. Is Bill Elliott. He's worked his way up to 8th place, coming on strong here late in the race. And being a veteran around here, I'm sure he understands this racetrack as well as temperatures changes. So probably making the right calls along with that crew chief over there, Mike Ford and all them guys. pretty racy right now.
Yeah, he just consistently finishes in the top 10 here, Jeff. He stays out of trouble. You don't talk a lot about him, but as the laps wind down, he always ends up in the top 10.
Look at all the big numbers on the board for career starts today. Terry Labonte's 750th. Elliott his 700th career starts, and other drivers with milestones to celebrate today.
Plus, Bill, he didn't go a lap down on it. He was just about ready to pit when that caution came out, so that kept him on the lead lap, too.
Speaking of staying or not staying on the lead lap, Jeff Gordon is 24. Dale Jarrett trying to stay on the lead lap. They've beaten and banging. That's not going to help neither one of them. Mark Martin is 6. Yeah, they're not helping their cause at all right there, what they're doing, neither one.
A little bit of temper flaring there.
Yeah, I think Dale Jarrett, I mean, you know, he's a guy that doesn't lose his temper very often, but I'd say right there at that moment, he was just about ready to give Jeff Gordon more than he bargained for.
Let's check with Matt.
But Mike, remember back in, I believe it was 1998, last lap battle with the 99 of Jeff Burton. Gordon knew where he needed to be going into turn 1 when he's banging fenders with the 88.
He did get a little damage on that right front fender, Jeff Gordon did. That could hurt his performance here as we go along.
And here comes Mark Martin closing on Gordon, who I think looked a little tentative down in 1 and 2,
Yeah,
Darrell,
I think
trying to
he
make
got
sure
that-
that car's okay.
He got that right front fender shoved in a little bit. It looked like he did. He's got some black marks all over it.
And Darrell, the crew chiefs in the garage, they've been confirming to me what I think we've been seeing. These cars are so fender sensitive. You just bend in one of those fenders, it changes the way that whole car drives.
Well, with the body location rule this year, Larry, the fenders are certainly different than they've ever been before, and I think they are more critical.
Let's show you this again. As Dale Jarrett fought to keep from going a lap down here, or rather another lap down, he's now 2 laps down.
And right here about now, Dale Jarrett's having to really control his emotions, because what he would really like to do is take a hard right.
Now things have settled out with Jeff Gordon 0.4 of a second on Mark Martin. Everybody's right back to race pace with Sadler, Blaney, and Craven filling the top 5. There's officials on pit road to look at every Winston Cup pit stop, and you'll see coming in from the right, the inspector is going to come in here to have a look at the left front on Mark Martin's car. And he's pointing to where there's a stud with no lug nut, and Mark Martin had to come in and replace it.
That's a shame.
So he's the last car on the lead lap for the restart.
He went from 2nd to 11th, but with the lap cars on the inside, it's like restarting this race in 22nd position. A lot of cars to fight.
And this is when you come back out and you have a caution right now, something happens to you, you know what you're going to say.
And this late in the race, nobody's going to give you a break of no kind.
We had no business back there in the first place.
But Martin is still in it to win it. He's one of 11 cars on the lead lap as we get the restart, with 52 laps to go in Darlington. Jimmy Johnson in the wall off turn 2.
Yeah, he just shoved up there, got up on top of it, died. Not sure he's going to. I don't think it hurt it that much.
This is where you kind of forget about racing the racetrack, getting this late in the race. Boy, Kurt Busch, he got a heck of a run off turn 2. He's right up on the rear bumper, Jeff Gordon. He's going to pull to the inside, heading down the backstretch. He wants the lead of this race.
Missed his pit under the green flag earlier, lost 6 spots. Now he's right back in it and does the big slide.
I saw him do that once before, and he didn't quite make it. He said, I'll fall back in here and try that again.
While they were doing that, Elliott Sadler in the 38 pulls right up on Kurt Busch's rear bumper.
And they're 3 wide here. Jeff Green gets a bit of bumper from Bill Elliott. And there's Matt Kenseth back with them up front. Busch going to try it again.
Yeah, he
Same
gets a
song,
whale
second
of a
verse.
run off of that second turn.
But boy, Jeff Gordon drives it down in there to 3 and 4.
Come on in there, Elliott. Make it 3. Let's get a 3-way battle going here.
This looks like that high line is just the way to go through 3 and 4. You keep that momentum. There's a lot better grip up there.
Boy, Kurt Busch got to be careful going here. Good job. Elliott Sadler's the one that's got it. Jeff can't get off of turn 2 over there. He's pushing and the car's a little too tight. Yikes!
Elliott Sadler, he ran out of racetrack over there. He's going to possibly lose second position, but boy, he bailed her off into turn 3.
No, he did. He just got out there and got real close. At the Darlington stripe.
Elliott Sadler's going to make a run for the lead against Jeff Gordon, and watch how this turns out.
Yeah, I mean, when that happened right there, Kurt Busch was 4 or 5 car lengths behind him at the start-finish line.
Elliott was just being he was just being too cautious, and he didn't, you know, it's late in the race, he don't want to mess up. I understand that, but this cat here was back far enough. He got that momentum off of turn 2, and around both of them he went, baby.
And Sadler knew you can't go into that corner 3 wide. Somebody's got to lift. Wow.
Just so much momentum. I mean, the 97 was wide open off that corner where the other 2 were pedaling, trying to keep off each other.
So Kurt Busch is the new leader, and he has driven away. It took Sadler a while to get past Jeff Gordon. Took him 2 laps to finally seal that deal. So Kurt Busch now has a 1.4-second lead.
But boy, Jeff Gordon, when he went. He has dropped all the way back to 8th position, Darrell. I think he just used that right front tire. We heard him say he's been pushing off the corner, and I think the right front tire's gone on that race car.
And guess what? I bet Kurt Busch's power steering is working just fine now.
Feels pretty good.
Yeah, I think the power steering is going to be okay.
4 laps to go this time.
Last time it happened here on the last lap, 1987. Dale Earnhardt beat Bill Elliott. 1979 when Darrell beat Richard Petty on the last lap.
Yeah, I did it. It's with the old crossover move on him, and that could happen again today.
Jeff Gordon's problems continue. He has to come back to pit road.
Watch Craven. Watch Craven on this end of the racetrack. Really gets off the turn 4 hard. Here he comes. He's there. He'll make the move on him. Going down into turn 1, he's going to put the move on him.
3 laps to go.
Craven's going to. The thing that Craven is really good. He's good in 3 and 4. Looks like they're pretty even on this end of the racetrack.
Yeah, he don't really pull away from him coming off turn 2, but right here, going down into turn 3, this is where we'll watch him. 1.5 laps to go.
Watch this. Here he goes. Craven gets that high right out next to that wall. Watch.
Right there.
Close.
Right there in the middle.
Cuts down. He's going to make it down. He's going to get down under him. That's not the way to do it. I don't know. Come on, baby. Come on.
Side by side. 2 laps to go. Somebody's got to give. Getting into turn 1.
Nobody. And in the wall goes Busch.
That was not a very good idea.
Look, the crossover move. He got into it.
Come on, clear. Good job, man. Hang in there.
And here comes Blaney. Blaney is now the best car on the track.
Oh, baby. I'm telling you, Kurt Busch is not going to give up the win.
No, he's not. They'll be coming to the white flag this time. Ricky Craven's not going to give up either.
Come on, Ricky.
He gets that run on the high side right there. Kurt Busch is struggling with his race car.
Here he comes. Here we go again. He's going to wait on this. He's going to put the crossover on him. He realized that wasn't a good move that last time.
White flag.
Here he goes. He's going to try to slide under him here. Come on, baby.
And Blaney's coming.
Both these cars are driving terrible right now. Half a lap to go.
Nah, they're driving good. Come on, baby. You can do it on this end of the speedway. Come off the board and get up alongside of him.
Half a mile
Here
to
he
go.
comes. Here he comes.
Who's going to get off?
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got him this time.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow! They touch. They touch.
Craven got him. Craven got him.
Craven got it.
And
Craven. All right. What a finish.
have you ever?
No, I've never.
Wow.
What a finish.
That is one happy group right there.
That's one great race. I'm going to tell you, it's the best race I've ever seen at Darlington.
Ricky Craven drove the wheels off it today. The crew is cheering him as they should be. What a run. Oh, here we go. Everybody gets wet. Hey, that last lap, how sure were you that you were going to be able to make it to the start-finish line and not wreck?
Oh my gosh, I had no idea, but I've done this for over 20 years, and as a racer, that's it. You dream of that, and being a New England boy, and being attached to this sport, NASCAR, my whole life, I knew there was none any tougher than Darlington. So that's the one I wanted to win the worst, and wow, this is sweet. I just got to thank everybody back home, and it's amazing that you can drive and pray at the same time, but I was doing it.
Were you holding your breath on those last couple of laps? You're puffing.
I wasn't holding my breath, but I was working pretty hard. Maybe it didn't look that hard, but I tell you what, Kurt is such a good racer, and we got together, and I don't know why we didn't wreck with a couple laps to go. And then we said, well, let's try it again, you know. But it was absolutely the most fun I've ever had. Really thankful to have the opportunity to be driving the Tide Pontiac and to have this group of people, and really thankful I got these three, Kay, Riley, and Everett, and life's good.
Ricky Craven in a 2-lap battle to the finish beats Kurt Busch by just this little much.
Look at the smoke flying off them. They're rubbing on each other like crazy, man.
And in Kurt Busch's pit, they're not sure. How close was it? 2 1/1000ths of a second. We've had a great finish at Rockingham, 2 abreast racing at Las Vegas and at Atlanta. And here we are with a great last lap finish. What a season this is starting out to be.
Well, I think it's parity. I mean, I really do believe that NASCAR has nailed it with the body location and the common template, because we're seeing everybody getting better and better and better. But this race, it's by far and away my most favorite. I've won several races. This is my favorite race of all time. To see that finish, those last couple of laps, Kurt turns Ricky sideways down there in turn 2. They go down to 3 and 4. Come off turn 4. It's like, I don't care if we wreck or not. We're going for the win.
But I think the parity, Dale, 5 races. We've had 5 different winners, 3 manufacturers. We had a record 2 years ago of winners 19. We're going to bust that record all to pieces this year.
Yeah, plus I tell you something else we got to look at. The Tony Stewart, the guy that finished 10th. He's a championship contender. That consistency is there for that team. That's somebody we keep our eye on. And my little brother, Mikey, he's going to be pretty tough too.
Finishes 5th after having to go to the rear of the field, just like Kurt Busch did.
5 Fords, 3 Chevys, a Pontiac, and a Dodge in the top 10. And boy, Bristol next week, Chris Myers.
And Kurt Busch, of course, won there last year. Let's take a look at the points. Matt Kenseth of Roush Racing hanging on steady. Jeff Hammond as we look. Ricky Craven jumps all the way up to 5th. You see Kurt Busch currently running 6th. NASCAR's top 10, the Winston Cup point standings. And we had a little March Madness here in Darlington. Talk about a buzzer beater. Let's go back for a moment. Ricky Craven, of course, a Red Sox fan making New England proud, and a guy who can relate to the Red Sox's struggles at Fenway, certainly a traditional track like Darlington. Had to enjoy the moment and fought Kurt Busch to the finish.
Well, I mean, right now, what you saw was one of the nicest guys in racing when it comes to somebody like Ricky Craven. But he really showed he can get up on the wheel.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's like 2 heavyweights just duking it out right there over the last couple laps. Who wanted it the most? Well, right there at the end, Ricky Craven got the best of Kurt Busch, but it was by a matter of inches. And as Darrell has said, this is one of the most exciting races I've ever seen here at Darlington, and I've seen a few.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.